The Student Award of Excellence recognizes exemplary journalism produced by those who are completing an accredited journalism diploma or degree program at a Canadian post-secondary school. Entries can include work published as part of a program requirement, or anything produced by the students or student that was first published or broadcast by any Canadian media outlet in any format. There are 5 finalists in this category. The first set of finalists is Shrinkala Dawadi and Julia Dick, writing for the McGill Tribune with their entry, "It didn't matter because it didn't happen on campus." The journalists introduce you to Anna, a McGill student who was assaulted at an off-campus party. It continues to show how the legal system allowed the assaulter to complete his studies before serving his sentence, and how the university didn't take any additional measures to make Anna feel safer on campus. Further, the university's official response to her complaints was based on the determination that because the assault did not take place on campus, it would not take action against her assaulter, a fellow university student. The next finalists are Mount Royal University students Ashley King and Karina Yaseko, who submitted Fort McMurray Embers, published in print by the Calgary Journal and online. The pair returned to Fort Mac a year after the massive wildfire that led to the evacuation of the entire city in May 2016. They spoke with the people who'd lived through the experience and the impact it was having on their health. Listen to Megan Norman describe the scene as she left her home.
There's houses up on the hill of Waterways, and we were down in the main level, and I looked up, and the fire was completely engulfed all the trees, and it was coming towards our house. There was a house across the street and 2 doors down was on fire. The house down at the end of the street was in flames. The park where I walk my dog every day was completely engulfed. And the heat, it was the hottest thing you've ever felt. Like, it just inside of you was really warm.
The third set of finalists is also from Mount Royal University, with the entry Closing Midfield by Jolene Rudisuela, Amy Simpson, and Lexi Wright. Midfield is a mobile home community that was well located for its residents and their needs, but it suffered from a severe infrastructure deficit as the decades dragged on. Rather than invest in this neighborhood, the city's response was to determine it wasn't worth the investment to maintain as a mobile home community. Despite several deferrals and challenges, the community was closed, but not before some of its residents had their opportunity to say what was happening.
We were evicted from Calgary because we live in a mobile home. Period. There is nowhere for us to go. They said they were going to make another place, but they didn't do that.
The next finalist is the 17-person team from the Reporting in Indigenous Communities course of the University of British Columbia's Graduate School of Journalism, with the entry Tumach, Stories of Land. This immersive multimedia project takes us to a handful of communities along the British Columbia coast, introducing us to the Indigenous people who call the area home and inviting them to share their thoughts on the importance of those lands.
We have our dreams for that land. All of us have our dreams. But just to have a part of where our ancestors walked, that's what means the most.
I'm fighting not to have this land developed for houses. We've got to keep something open. You go to the next reserve, all you see is houses, houses, houses.
The final set of finalists is the 11-person team from the University of King's College, with the entry Overburdened, published in the Signal and the Coast. The team introduces us to several people from Nova Scotia and PEI who've struggled with mental illness, but pulls back the lens to incorporate an analysis of referral and waiting list data. The resulting landscape painted by this entry shows a healthcare system struggling to meet the needs of those with mental illness. From improper diagnoses, to a lack of emergency mental health beds, to long wait times for referral and shortage of specialists, the challenges are all documented against the narratives of these people's personal experiences. The work led to commitments from Nova Scotia's 2 opposition parties, They'd Do Better if elected in 2017, and promises from the government for increased investments that were made but not enacted prior to the election.